It's not what it seems. The lies we believed as Americans about moving abroad. Disappointing? How could we be so wrong? The idea of moving to a new country surrounded by different cultures is an aspect that many Americans are looking forward to. My family and I took the leap 3 years ago, and we moved to Madeira, Portugal. While we absolutely love our life here, we quickly realized that living abroad isn't as simple as the fantasy often is portrayed. There are many misconceptions about what life would be like overseas. In this video, we debunk 12 common lies or myths that Americans or expats in general often believe about moving abroad, sharing our personal experiences and tips to help you prepare for your own fantastic adventure abroad.
Lie 1. Life is cheaper everywhere else. Many people believe that moving abroad automatically gives them a lower cost of living. While this is true to a lot of places coming from the United States, it's not to the degree that most people seem to believe. And on top of that, in a lot of popular destinations, the costs can be just as much in the US, if not even higher. In our experience, Madeira offers a lower cost of living, but it's not as cheap as some might expect, and not as cheap as the rest of Portugal. We've met expats who expect to be able to live the same American lifestyle they could back in the States, only to find that certain things like subscriptions or imported goods are more expensive here. And some tips, just like location, 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 when buying real estate. When searching for a new country, you need to research thoroughly. Research the cost of living in your chosen country, factoring your personal needs and lifestyle. Be prepared to adapt and make lifestyle changes to align with the local economy, as well as to maintain what you still need in your home country. We still have some things in the US, like our insurance or our regional banks, a US cell phone, which is in addition to our Portuguese cell phones, our traveling mailbox service, which we need vitally for connecting back with the United States, and our home addresses. Our Surfshark VPN service, and see affiliate links for a number of these in the description below. Lie number 2. You don't need to learn the language. Many expats believe that because, English, it's the most spoken language in the world. That's the idea, at least, that they will be able to get by with just English in anywhere that they decide to move to. However, this often just ends up leading to isolation and is almost always considered disrespectful. In our experience, while many people on Madeira speak English better than we do, we found that relying solely on it limits our experience. It's crucial to learn Portuguese to truly connect with the local community and navigate everyday life. By learning the language, you will have a much better experience in your new country, be able to make friends and enjoy yourself more fully. For example, when we go to the local concert or a local theater, and we just sit there in the audience pretending to understand what's going on, there's a lot that we're missing out on what could be a very enjoyable experience. While it is fun to make up our own version of what's going on stage, it's a little disappointing nonetheless. Just a tip though, as always, start learning the language before you come. Even just basic language skills can significantly enhance your experience and help you integrate into your new community. Lie number 3. Healthcare abroad is cheap and perfect. The promise of affordable, high-quality healthcare is a major draw for many expats. While healthcare in many countries, including Portugal, can seem excellent and more affordable than in the US, it's not as straightforward as it seems. While many countries offer universal healthcare, it's oftentimes not sufficient for what you're going to actually need, especially if you're accustomed to the private healthcare options available in the US. In our experience, in Portugal, the healthcare system is excellent and affordable. However, to get the same or better level of care as what we had in the US, we have to buy into the private system here as well as what we get provided through the universal healthcare system. It is worth the cost, and yes, we still save 80% of what it would have cost in the US. So a tip, plan to supplement the public healthcare system with private insurance, especially if you have specific medical needs. Lie 4. Everyone loves Americans. There's a pervasive belief that Americans are universally loved abroad, but this isn't always the case. While most countries are welcoming, they pretty much view Americans as loud, crass, or overly confident. Yeah, well, that would mean cocky. And while we are fine with these labels, you may not like it. At least you should be aware that your loud, friendly ways may not be received as you think they should. Our experience in Portugal is generally very welcoming to Americans, but we've had to be mindful of how we present ourselves. Anyway, sometimes people get put off by silly things like tipping, for instance, which is standard in the US, but it can be seen as excessive in Europe. Myth 5, you can easily replicate your American lifestyle. Many expats expect that when they move abroad, they're going to find all the American conveniences that they're used to. The American foods, American services, and American conveniences in their new home country. But they just have to understand that that's not the case, especially for niche or regional products. And you really shouldn't be trying to replicate your American lifestyle. After all, you are moving abroad. So it's time to experience some new cultures, have new adventures. It's fun to see and do so many new things. In our experience in the US, we were so used to having access to all kinds of excellent Mexican foods. But that's just not the case in Europe. You're not close to Mexico. Even if Spain exists, it's not the same cuisine. We've had to adapt and sometimes even make our favorite dishes from scratch, as the ingredients can be hard to find. Corn, for example. Until you live in Europe, you have no idea how much we use corn in the US. Simple things like fresh Midwestern corn on the cob is never going to happen. Be prepared to let go of some conveniences and adapt to what's available locally. This can be a rewarding part of the experience as you discover new foods and ways of living.
Lie/myth number 6. You don't need to worry about taxes. Many expats overlook the complexities of taxation when moving abroad. However, understanding your tax obligations in both your home and host country is crucial. Our experience, taxes can be complicated when living abroad, and every country has different rules. We worked with a tax attorney to understand both our obligations in Portugal and the US, ensuring that we are compliant in both countries, as well as fully understanding the cost of our tax obligations to both the USA. In our case in Portugal, we must file in both countries, and taxes can be very expensive. Tip: consult with a tax advisor who specializes in US expat taxes. We use Bright Tax. Our affiliate link is in the description below.
Today we're here on the southeast of the island hiking Bogaderisco. And this is a Levada hike out on the most southeastern point of the island.
This is one of the first hikes that we came on when we first came to the island, and I was terrified. Came around the corner and literally made everybody quit and go back. Now I can do this with my eyes closed. It's hardly scary at all.
Lie 7. You can easily find all your dietary needs. If you have special dietary requirements, it's essential to know whether your new country can actually accommodate them. Availability of certain foods can vary greatly. Not that you can't find pretty much anything you need here in Europe, but if local restaurants aren't used to accommodating you for your needs, your life could be limited. Do your research so you'll create a wonderful life experience. We've found that local restaurants here don't tend to tell you on their menus whether or not there is peanuts in the food or if there's gluten issues for allergy or dietary reasons. Funny enough, here in Portugal, the restaurants are so small and so local and friendly that if you just ask them to help you with your gluten issue, they will find some way to work it into a menu item that they otherwise wouldn't have available. Again, with anything, the tip is just do some research beforehand. And maybe go on a trip. A trip, getting your feet on the ground is the best way to figure out if the restaurants are going to have what you need them to have. Lie number 8. You'll immediately feel like you're on a permanent vacation. The allure of moving abroad often comes with the expectation of a life that will feel like a never-ending vacation, of sunny days, leisurely afternoons, and constant exploration of new places. But the reality is that this novelty will wear off, and it can eventually come to feel just as routine as life would have back in the United States. After the initial honeymoon phase of exploring a new country, life settles into a routine. Work, errands, bills. The normal ups and downs of life don't just disappear because you're in a new place. Potentially, the added difficulty of a whole new culture and language can make these everyday tasks more challenging than they were back home. Lie number 9, you'll instantly make friends with the locals. Many Americans believe that moving abroad will automatically result in deep and lasting friendships with the locals. The expectation is that people in other countries are eager to welcome newcomers with open arms, and that integration into the local community will always be smooth and effortless. Building new relationships in a new country can be difficult. As I said earlier with language, there are differences that will get in the way. Cultural differences, language differences, and established social circles are going to make it challenging to breach in and connect with the locals. In some places, locals may be friendly, but reserved.
Lie, or myth number 10. You'll easily adapt to a slower, more relaxed pace of life. One of the romanticized aspects of moving abroad, especially to countries with a reputation for a laid-back lifestyle, is the belief that you'll effortlessly transition to a slower, more relaxed way of living. Whether it's the leisurely pace of the Mediterranean life or emphasis on work-life balance in Scandinavian countries, many Americans assume that they'll quickly adopt this new rhythm. Reality check. While some countries do have a slower pace of life, adjusting to it isn't always easy. Americans are often used to a fast-paced, productivity-driven culture, and slowing down can be more challenging than anticipated. You might find yourself feeling impatient with longer wait times, slower service, or a different approach to work and deadlines. Tip: prepare yourself mentally for the change in pace. Practice mindfulness and patience, and try to embrace the slower lifestyle as a way to reduce stress and enjoy life more fully. It can be a significant adjustment, but with the right mindset, it's a rewarding one. Lie, or myth number 11. You can easily travel anywhere in your new region. Many Americans are drawn to the idea of moving abroad because they believe it will make international travel more accessible. For instance, moving to Europe might seem like a ticket for an easy weekend trip across the continent, or relocating to Southeast Asia might suggest frequent jaunts to an exotic island. Reality check. While living abroad can certainly open up new travel opportunities, it's not always as easy or affordable as it seems. Travel within a new region still requires time, money, and planning. Factors such as local transportation infrastructure, regional flight availability, and the demands of everyday life can limit how often you actually get to travel. Additionally, you may find that travel restrictions, visa requirements, and local holidays affect your ability to move around freely. Tip: do your research on travel logistics and cost in your new region. Budget for travel and be realistic on how often you'll be able to explore other countries. Instead of frequent international trips, you might find more joy in discovering local destinations within your new country. Lie, or myth number 12. Your standard of living will automatically be better. There's a common belief that moving abroad will instantly elevate your quality of life, whether through better housing, improved work-life balance, or access to cultural amenities. The idea is that life will automatically feel more luxurious or fulfilling simply because you're in a different country. Reality check. While some aspects of your standard of living may improve, others might not meet your expectations. Housing standards, infrastructures, and amenities can widely vary depending on where you move. What's considered a high standard in one country might be different in another. For instance, homes in Europe are often smaller than those in the US, and conveniences you're used to might not be available or could come at a higher cost. Tip: research the specific living conditions in your chosen country. Consider such factors as housing, utilities, transportation, and availability of goods and services. Be open to adjusting your expectations and finding new ways to appreciate your lifestyle abroad. Lastly, we want you to know the lie or myth number 13 says you won't miss home is wrong. A popular myth is that the excitement of living abroad will completely overshadow any feelings of homesickness. Many people assume that the novelty of a new environment will be so overwhelming that they won't miss their home country, culture, or the comforts that they're accustomed to. Reality check. No matter how exciting or beautiful your new country is, homesickness is a common experience for expats. You might miss the ease of communication, familiar foods, cultural norms, and the proximity to family and friends. Holidays, in particular, can be challenging as you realize the traditions you're used to aren't celebrated the same way, or even at all, in your new home. Tip: acknowledge that homesickness is a natural part of living abroad. Stay connected with loved ones through regular calls or video chats, and create new traditions to help ease the sense of loss. Also, seek out expat communities or local groups where you can share your experiences and find support. Our programs, Patreon, and affiliates are how we support this channel. Links are located in the description of our videos, as well as on our website and Patreon. We'd like to take a moment to thank all our Patreon supporters. Your financial support is truly appreciated, allowing us to create new content. We should have done this sooner. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to help us grow. The next stage in your life is a journey.